Hey loves, welcome to Dance with Life. I'm your host, Tiffany Lee. I'm so excited to have you with us today as we start on this new adventure of the Dance with Life podcast. So thank you so much for listening. I also want to take a moment before we dive into the topic of today and truly express my heartfelt love, gratitude, and appreciation for all the people in my life that have been encouraging me and supporting me and sharing my voice with the world in this way. I also want to give an extra special shout out to my girl Britt at Hello Gorgeous Mama Podcast. She had me as a recent guest, and through that experience truly was the catalyst for me taking the leap and getting this podcast finally out to all of you. It had been sitting on the back burner for a while, and I'm like, okay, nope, that's it. It's time. It was so fun, and I truly am in gratitude to you, Britt, and so grateful to have you in my life and be a part of my journey. That being said, I want to share with you the background of how I danced with life in particular, even with creating this podcast. You know how the saying goes, make plans and you hear God laugh. So I had a plan. I had a topic I was going to be talking about, a passionate subject of mine, which is giving yourself permission to pivot. Well, that will be a topic for another day, more than likely next week, if I'm still wanting to share that with you, unless something else more pressing comes, because I follow the energy on things. But as I took a step back, one of my greatest intentions is to create community and connection. The way that I know how to do this is through sharing authentically and being vulnerable. You have to know who this voice is behind this podcast as we dive into this journey together. So today I wanted to take the moment to welcome you to the Dance with Life movement and also share a bit of who I am and what I have experienced that led me to this space of and this whole journey of transformation and healing, what I do for work in the world right now, and how I want to use this podcast to be a huge force of love and raising consciousness in this world. So at the very baseline nitty-gritty of the descriptions that you give yourself, I would say I am a multi-passionate individual who dances with life. I learned to go with the flow. However, I am a clown. This podcast will not be straightforward, straight-laced. We're going to dive into things, and it's going to be passionate, and it may be emotional at times. It will definitely have fun and laughter. I also know that I can have the mouth of a trucker, so don't be surprised if I drop an F-bomb. It may take you off base, but I just want to give you forewarning that could happen. On occasion, sometimes dropping the F-bomb is therapeutic for me. And it comes out in a conversation or in a talk because I'm super passionate. So just be forewarned. You have to know who I am. So that's me at the very, basics of things. I am married for 25 years. I have 2 boys, adult, grown, live at home still. And I live in Wisconsin. So those are like these are the very basics about me. But that's not really what I want to share with you. The important part that I want to share with you today is basically one of my rock bottom moments. And I say one of because I have recognized that my journey through life is experiential. I have to experience things on my own. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. Sometimes I fall flat on my face, but I get back up and I keep going. And that is how I learned to dance with life. It's been a constant cycle of death and rebirth, I would say, from about this story that I'm going to tell you today. It started way before this, and I would say it started back when I was a young girl, in my tween to teen years, somewhere in there, adolescent age, right? I had multiple experience that in my mind, it solidified this gross limiting belief that I was not good enough. And so until one day, like a few months before I turned 30, I literally sat sobbing on my bathroom floor. Like, I had no idea who the hell I was at that point. I wore so many masks and so many hats, and I was trying to be everything to everyone that I lost myself. I didn't have a clue who I was, what I wanted. And I feel it's so important for me to paint this picture for you because I know that this will resonate with so many people because I hear this in various forms with friends and family and clients. This is not an uncommon thing to happen for us as women, especially in this life. See, we put on the masks or the hats to become the people or the person to the people in our life that we think we're supposed to be. And that was what was going on in my life to a degree. But that was compounded by the fact that I was a busy working mom. I worked full-time as a physical therapist assistant. And at that stage of the game for me, my career had become soul-sucking because I wasn't able to be of service in the way that I wanted to. So it wasn't resonating with me on any level anymore. And it was just very exhausting. I had 2 busy boys who were in activities and things. And my husband of 11 years at that time was... he was working 3rd shift, still does. So for us, it was chaotic. Like, he was great and supportive while I was there, but yet he was sleeping sometimes. And, I had to pick up that, it's that balance of picking things up. And I know so many other people have struggled with this aspect in creating balance in their life. Not to mention the fact that during that phase of life for our family, my youngest son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. That flipped our life upside down. During that stage of the game, I started to have a lot of anxiety and depression. Real raw and honest, I was in deep fear that I was going to kill my child, not intentionally, but because there were so many components and things I had to, keep straight and make sure it was right. And oh my gosh, what if he had a low and he didn't wake up in the morning? It was crippling anxiety and fear for me that I kept very well hidden, if I'm being honest. I felt it much more than I showed it. So it was on my bathroom floor with the tears streaming down my face that I recognized that I had spent more years of my life than I can count hiding and judging myself from every breath I took to every step I took on all levels. I was tangled in this intricate web of perfection and people pleasing that was leading to this struggle with my mental health through anxiety and depression. That was the initial catalyst that inspired me to really begin my journey of transformation and healing. See, at that point, it was more of going to the doctor is what started it. And I needed help. I told her I was, having these troubles with anxiety and depression, and expressed to her that I was more holistic in nature, but she's the doctor, and I'm open to hearing what she has to say. And so she told me, go home, exercise until you sweat every day for the next 2 weeks. If that doesn't help, come back and we'll discuss options for treatment, for medications, or how we can help you to feel better. And I said, fair enough, that works for me. So I did just that, had a treadmill, went home, got on my treadmill every day. And that started my physical body transformation and got me into the realm of actually coaching people through the physical body transformation. However, at the end of the day, I started to recognize that I was feeling empty still because I truly hadn't addressed any of the mindset issues or emotional issues that were under the surface. So it's like I'm looking the best that I have in my entire life, but I'm still empty. So I knew that there was a problem. This led me to getting my degree, or my certification rather, in holistic health coaching. And that is where I brought all of the pieces together of nourishing the physical body, mastering your mindset, really learning to acknowledge your emotions and understand them, and also manage your energy. In turn, I learned to restore harmony to my life and create this high vibe life that I love now. And I have to take a moment to step back and share with you, when I say create a high vibe life that I love, it doesn't mean that I don't experience any low feelings or experiences that break my heart. That's not truth. And I want to squash that belief for you right here and now. Because so many times on the spiritual journey, we believe that, it's all love and light. And when we're not in that place of love and light, we can fall into these feelings of being inadequate, or like, I'm not doing it right. But let me tell you that there is no right or wrong on this journey. It's yours. And you live it through experience. And part of creating the high vibe life you love is learning tools in the different interventions, so that when you are feeling those emotions, you're able to recognize the emotions. You're able to recognize the limiting beliefs. You're able to recognize when you're taking on energy of other people in your environment that's not your own. Those are the tools that get you back to that high vibe state. And that's the beauty of the journey. That has brought me actually full circle to who I am and what I do today. So I now serve as an intuitive life coach and energy healer. And as you can hear by what I've shared already, I'm super passionate about assisting other women in their transformation and teaching them to become empowered self-healers. I'm often referred to as a transformation catalyst by my clients, and I truly love that because, so many times when, people hear energy healing or healer, they expect somebody else to take ownership for them and like wave this magic wand. And that's not it. We as healers, light workers, coaches, there are so many aspects in which we share our work, but we're here to hold space and be guides on the journey to those who are willing to walk their own path and become empowered to do their own self-healing. And through this podcast, you can expect for me to also share with you tips and trips to guide you on this transformative journey and gain insight into the power that you have by embracing the cycles of your own life with gratitude. That is a transformation in and of itself. So together we'll learn how to flow and dance with life in alignment with your unique, authentic, wild soul. And that involves discovering what it means to be truly and authentically you. And I know as I say that, that might spark a little bit of fear or anxiety within you. Because like I said, if you would have mentioned to me around that time I was sitting on my bathroom floor, well, who are you? Or asked me that question, I would have cried even harder. I would have not have been able to breathe because it was taking everything out of me because I had no identity. And so now I am super passionate about leading other people through this process so they don't have to suffer, so they don't have to struggle, so they can do it in a way that feels less overwhelming. And that's the beauty of this journey. My intention with this podcast is also to serve as a source of self-care and spiritual growth for each and every listener. So we will be discussing different life strategies. We will be diving into some heartfelt, maybe even challenging subjects to talk about, because that's how we grow and become more self-aware. But these tools also help you align with the highest version of yourself and step into your purpose. And I also feel so called to share with you this very specific thought process and perspective for you to ponder. What if your highest purpose in this life is to be happy and fulfilled? What does that look like for you? And I know that's a very different perspective probably than what you've ever encountered in your life before. Or maybe you've heard it, but you didn't really think so much about it. Because oftentimes when we hear purpose, we think of our career, our job. But what if it's just to create a happy life that we're so in love with? That we find the joy in the simplest things and each and every moment of our existence. And no matter what your religious beliefs, whether it be God, universe, or no belief at all, but don't you think that that is all that we were created to be? Is happy and fulfilled? Who wouldn't want that for each and every person on this planet? At least I know that that's what I want to share with people and assist them in creating. So that is where my passion lies. And I will be sharing about these things with some awesome interviews with special guests, various topics around personal growth and development, empowerment. Like I said, we're going to just be diving into so many things that come up along our journey that we need to navigate the waters and learn to dance with life. It's also so important to me to provide you with so many different pieces of helpful and practical information so that you can take them away from each and every podcast episode. At Dance with Life, we recognize that everyone has their own individual path, and that it's our responsibility to provide the best knowledge we can so that you can create your life that you envision for yourself. I don't get to decide what your life looks like. That's for you to decide. And that is the beauty of learning to dance with life. I aim to bring forth consciousness about how our emotions can impact our thoughts, how we show up in life, how we build confidence in order to show up better for ourselves. And we show up better for ourselves, we in turn radiate and show up better in each and every area of our life. I want to invite our community to embody a renewed sense of self, set healthy boundaries, and move through our experiences with grace, love, and compassion for ourselves and others. Self has to come first. We have to start within. Change starts within. Because each and every person we encounter is a mirror to our own existence. Our relationships are our huge, huge, huge growth opportunities for us. And as we nourish ourselves, understand ourselves, we find deeper understanding in others. When we love ourselves so fearlessly, we can love others without attachment to whether they love us back. We can love others unconditionally. Love them no matter what has happened, what circumstances surround it, just love. And I know that's a deep subject because it seems like such a hard thing to do, but yet we can also do it from a distance if we need to, if that's what's healthiest for our life. There are so many aspects that are so interconnected that I cannot wait to dive into with you. So by focusing on simple and actionable strategies to help you create a meaningful life through this podcast, I'm going to help you create a life that you feel excited to live. Dance with Life hopes to assist you in understanding the power that you have within. That is why I created this podcast. That's why I'm showing up and sharing with you a piece of my journey today. So I ask you this as we wrap up today. Are you ready to embark on this journey? If so, join me next week as we learn more about how to dance with life.